The dashboard is the first page that appears after you log into the Ruckus Cloud Wi-Fi portal. It provides a snapshot of your wireless networks, your venues, your access points, and the wireless clients associated with your access points. The good news is that you can access the dashboard from any device, for example, your laptop, a smartphone, or a tablet that is connected to the web interface. And we also have a mobile app that allows configuration and monitoring as well. So let's take a brief tour around the dashboard to familiarize you with it. Other videos will go into more detail on each of the specific functions. So as you can see here, as soon as we log in, we get a snapshot view where we have the navigation pane on the left. We have some major functions across the top, such as the alarms, the venues, the APs, clients, and so forth. We have some quick configuration tabs on the right, such as Add Venue, which is the same as the venue option on the navigation pane. We have APs here. We could add an AP over here, or we could add a network. So let's look at the upper right-hand corner, for example. The first thing is Show Alarms. So if I click on that, this will just show me any alarms that I have, and in this case it shows that I do have one alarm here. If I unclick that, and for example if I expand the alarm view across the top, this shows the same alarm. I could go ahead and disable that alarm if I wanted to. I could clear that alarm, but I'll just keep it on for now. And I could hide it. Also on the question mark over here, this opens the help menu. I've got different things I can look at: documentation, how-to videos, help for this page, contact support, open a case, my open case if I already have a case that's open, a privacy statement, and about Ruckus Cloud. For example, if I click on About Ruckus Cloud, this shows me the current release version that I'm working with. So in this case, it's release 2017.01 build 30. Now there is another place I can find that information under the Administration tab, and I'll show that later. Okay, also under the question mark, we could show documentation or help for this page. So for example, if I click on help for this page, it'll bring up some specific information about the current page that you're on. So we see the overview of the dashboard here, and if I wanted to scroll down and get information on alarms, venues, and so forth, I could do that. So we'll go ahead and close this window out. And also if I wanted to contact support or open a case, I could do that as well. On the very far right, if I wanted to change my profile or change my password, I would do that here, or I could log out. So that takes care of the upper right-hand corner. We've talked about the alarms, the venues. So let's talk a little bit about venues. A venue is a physical space where you are deploying at least one access point that you will be managing using cloud Wi-Fi. And as a note, APs can only be assigned to one venue. So for example here, it shows that we have two venues. The green indicates that everything is good. The gray indicates that we have a setup in process. And if I adjust this map a little bit, you'll see that my venue shows up as a teardrop. So if I roll over that, it'll give me the name of the venue, which in this case is Awani Arts. It shows that I have two APs, and it shows that I have 8 clients associated with that. And over here to the right, we have a gray venue that's called Awani Foundry. And in this case, there's no APs connected to it, and there are no clients. So that's the reason the venue was installed, but no APs were associated with that venue. So that's the reason when I click on up here, it says in setup phase 1. So I haven't completed the setup on that yet. You'll notice here on this map that I have a legend over on the left. So red indicates that it requires attention. Orange indicates that it's temporarily degraded. This could be, for example, maybe an AP has interference that's going on, or it's got low throughput or something of this nature. So it might be something that you want to take a look at. Gray indicates that it's in a setup phase, so we haven't completed the setup or it hasn't gotten its configuration yet. And green is what we're all looking for, and that means that everything is good. Okay, so that's a little legend here. I could zoom in on this map by, in this case, using the scroll wheel on my mouse, or I could hit the plus and minus arrow down here. And if for some reason I wanted to get a satellite view, I could click on Google Maps here, which will take me to Google Maps, and I could go ahead and click on a satellite view. And that just gives me the satellite view, shows me the location of where I'm at. And as you can see where I'm located, it's in more of a rural area up in the Sierra foothills. So we'll go ahead and go back to the Ruckus Cloud. Under the APs, this shows that currently I have 2 APs and they're operational. I could expand that by clicking on Expand, and that'll give me more detailed. So for example, in this case, I have 2 R500s. One is configured as a map or mesh access point. The other is configured as a wrap or root access point, and that's the one I've got all my clients on. So currently I don't have anything on my map AP out here. And gives me the tags, any tags that I have, tells me the client's other information. I could click on that to get more detailed. And in this case, it'll show me, for example, the last 24 hours is the default filter that comes up. Shows traffic volume from the client to the client. That's what these different colors indicate here. Gives me the client count in the lower on the window here. Over on the right, it shows a picture of the AP, and I could add an additional photo if I wanted to do that, or if I wanted to change that. Gives me the AP properties, so it tells me the venue that it's associated with, gives me the description of the name that I put on it, the uptime, last seen, the radio. In this case, we got 2.45 gigahertz, the RF channel that's being used, transmit power, and so forth. And further down, settings. You can see here that Bonjour is disabled, and Wi-Fi radio, it's the same as the venue. So I could click on that to get more information on that if I wanted to. All right, go back to the dashboard. If I went over to AP on the navigation menu, it gives me a similar menu to where I can get additional information on that, and I could click on the R500 again over here, and once again it takes me to the same place that we have over here. So we'll go back to the dashboard. So let's say, for example, I wanted to go in and I wanted to reboot or add an access point. I could go to the APs. I could go New AP if I wanted to add a new one. If I wanted to click on one that I already had, such as this one, and I wanted to edit that AP, I could do that. Go in and give it, maybe I want to assign it to a different venue. I could go ahead and assign it to a different venue here. If I want to change the name of it or description of it, give it a different tag or whatever, I could do that. So we'll cancel out on that. Or if I wanted to delete that AP, I could then delete the access point. I can do a reboot on that AP. I can download a log or do a factory reset on that. So this is where I would do that, is under the AP menu. Under clients, I could click on it here, or I could click on users over here. It'll give me the same information. So if I click on the client, once again, it brings up a list of the various clients that I have out there. It gives me the OS type if it recognizes it. And it's got one in here that it doesn't recognize, so you could be a refresh. That might be a baby monitor or something other than that, so it's not recognizing the OS on that. Could be something, could be an Internet of Things of some type of a thermometer or a thermostat or something of that nature as well. Okay, I can click on additional information on any of these clients. So for example, if I click on this particular client here, that's set up as a BYO device. Takes a little while to load the information. And after a little while, to give the client event history over on the right, and I could filter that depending upon what I wanted to do. All severities, critical, indeterminate, and so forth. I could slice and dice it on that way. I could jump to a particular time frame, or I could do a particular search. Gives me more information on the current client properties, such as the MAC address, the device OS, and so forth, IP address, username, all that kind of information. So I could scroll down and find out more information on that as well. So I can drill down to an individual user. Go back to the dashboard again. And you notice on the right, it gives me some analytical information. By default, it's the last 24 hours. It's showing the traffic volume from the client and to the client. So we have that information here. If I roll over that, you get a little bit of information on that. And also, if I roll over the client count down here, it gives me a date and shows me some of the shows me as the client count has changed over here. Okay, so that covers the alarms, the venues, the APs, the clients, and my menu over here. Now, if I wanted to add a venue, I could do that here by clicking on Add Venue, or click on Venues on the Navigation tab over here. So let's say, for example, I wanted to add a venue. I would click on that, I'd give it the name, I'd give it a description, I'd set in an address, which will give it the location on the map here. And I could put in additional information here, such as address notes. So for example, the venue might be one building, building A, Another venue might be building B and so forth, so I could put additional information down here. We'll have separate videos showing how to configure venues, configure APs, set up networks, and so forth. So this is just a quick overview. We'll cancel out of that. If I clicked on events here on the navigation pane, it brings up a list of all the different events, and as we've seen before, this can be sliced and diced depending upon what I want to look at. So for example, if I pick a major, see if we have anything in here under major, we had one major notification and it said it failed to send SMS notification to a particular phone number. And this is interesting because earlier I had changed a phone number, but I had not updated this yet. So when it tried to send a notification to that phone number, it got an error. All right, so that would be considered a major error there. And any warnings that I have and so forth and so on. Don't have any warnings on this particular one. Under the Analytics tab, we can slice and dice our analytics on client information, on session information, on access point information, or on applications. And we'll have a separate video going more into detail on this. But for example, I want a client fingerprint by OS, so I could click on that. It'll load that information in there. It gives me the top 5 operating systems that we have. So notice here we have iOS, we have Mac OS, we have Windows, and we have some unknown things down here. Okay. Once again, you can slice and dice this in a time range, anywhere from 24 hours to 7 days to a month, or a specific time frame. You can slice and dice on all venues or a particular venue, all access points or a particular access point, all networks or specific networks. So you would click on this, you would change this filter, and then you could click apply over here, and it will reset the information that you get here. Okay, back up to Analytics tab. One thing that I find very interesting is under Application. You want to find the applications by traffic. You could click on that. And this gives me the top applications by traffic volume here, and then gives me a little pie diagram down here, so I can see that I'm going out to Crash Plan. I've got some common internet file system traffic here, various things. So, you know, if you want to find out where your traffic is coming from or going to, this is a quick snapshot to double check that. And once again, it gives me a table up here, color-coded for the different applications that we're sending traffic to and from. Under the Administration tab, if I click on that, I've got several tabs here. The account details just gives me information about this particular account and the address, the city, state, and so forth. The Administration tab, I can set up additional administrators, and we'll have a separate video on that. We would do that by clicking on plus new administrator, or I could have third-party administrators. If I wanted someone else to manage my APs for me, you can delegate the rights to third-party administrators. These administrators will be given the administrator role, and we'll show you how to do that in a later video as well. Notifications, these would be system notifications will be sent to the following email or mobile devices. So I can send them by email, I can send them by SMS, and I can add additional mobile numbers or new email addresses here. Support. Under the Support tab, if I was having problems with my cloud Wi-Fi system and I wanted to let Ruckus Support take a look at it, I could click this button from off to on, and it would enable, and by doing that, when this is enabled, I could allow additional access to Ruckus Support by clicking this on. You would enable this when requested by the Ruckus Support team. By enabling this, you are granting Ruckus Support with temporary administrative level access. This grant for access will be automatically revoked after 7 days. So for example, if I wanted Ruckus Support to actually be able to go into my account and do some troubleshooting, I would turn this on. Normally this is left off. And the final tab over here is the License tab. This just gives me a status of my current subscriptions. You'll notice here I have 2 license subscriptions. One is for 8 APs and one is for 2 APs. And the time left shows that I have a month left on this 2 AP over here. So if I wanted to do license management, I could click on that, and that'll take me to the Ruckus Support website. Or if I wanted to refresh, let's say I'd purchased a new subscription, I wanted to refresh that, I could click on that, and it would refresh the licenses as well. In this case, I didn't buy anything new, so everything is still the same. So this is just a quick tour. In other videos, we'll demonstrate more in-depth features of each of these navigational menus.